So post-production was a doddle. It was not a doddle. Try to make the media production workflow as simple as possible. What I wanted to, because I know I'd be doing a lot of work on this, and I didn't want to have a lot of technical issues. It's the kind of thing you need to sort out before you step foot on set. It's what you work out in pre-production. So you're shooting for post-production. As well as telling the story. We captured on the Sony A7S in both 4K and in HD. And the HD was used in guerrilla shots when we didn't have the Shogun recorder. And also we captured dialogue separately. We captured it separately via XLR boom mic at 24-bit. And we imported all that into Premiere Pro CC 2014. Originally, I imported everything onto a 2K anamorphic timeline, as it was an anamorphic film. But obviously there's more resolution there, and you put more pressure on the computer. Also, we're talking about HD footage, 4K footage, and as the whole thing was shot with one lens, which was a 50mm lens, I was using 4K to reframe and to punch in a lot of shots, so it looked like we had different lenses. We're using different lenses to make the film. So therefore, there was lots of different sizes on the timeline. And when it came to then exporting to DaVinci, there was an issue with all that resizing. DaVinci didn't resize it in exactly the same way that Premiere did, and it needed to. And also, DaVinci didn't like the XAVCS. Well, I don't think it did XAVCS at the time. So to make sure all that was sorted out, I just converted the XAVCS footage, the 1080p footage, to DNx HD footage, and the main timeline in Premiere, I changed it to a 1080p timeline, 10-bit 444, and I did everything on that basis. So when it came to then doing the color correction and grading and DaVinci Resolve, it was extremely easy. DaVinci Resolve read everything correctly and didn't do any kind of resizing mistakes. So what we're trying to do in Premiere is you're trying to get to a position where you can lock the picture, lock your short film. It's so important that it's locked, so sound people and effects people and grading people can all work on the short and know that nothing's going to change, and they can do things perfectly. Going into After Effects, I used After Effects CC 2014. What I did was I created a lot of placeholders because it takes a long time to finish effects. So when you try to get to lock, it's a good idea to create placeholders where you can work out exactly how the effect's going to work and how it's going to finally look without finishing it. Put that back on the timeline, and therefore you've got your sequence. Once we had a lock, it was then time to export to DaVinci Resolve to do the color correcting and color grading. Going between Premiere and DaVinci, even with the aforementioned sizing issues, it's actually extremely easy. You just export an XML file, which is a little text file that says to DaVinci, recreate my timeline in Premiere on your timeline in DaVinci like this, or the cuts or the transitions. And DaVinci does that, and then you just do a grade. You export a text file back to Premiere, exactly the same thing. Hi Premiere, I've done all this. This is the grade. Premiere opens it up. Voila, it's all done. At the same time, you might send out an OMF file to the sound designer, master sound mixer, Mr. Stuart Dugdale. Brilliant sound designer and sound mixer, worked on our short film. I sent the files to him, and he was using Adobe Audition CC 2014. Adobe, very popular this year. Yes, also you need to send out I sent out a time-locked version of the short film to the music composer, Elliot Daniels, who started working on the music. And once it's done, everything goes back into Premiere. Finished sound, finished music, finished effects, finished footage, and it's then assembled in a master timeline, and then you finally export. Things like ADR and stuff like that, that's all in there as well. That's the main production workflow that worked for this short film. And it was a bit trial and error. There's some unforeseen things that happen, but essentially that's it. It took a bit longer than what I wanted it to. I was able to edit and finish the short over a part-time basis over a period of 4 months. But then little things, we had to wait for actors' availability for ADR and stuff like that. So it kind of took around 6 months. And that's on a part-time basis.
However, I've locked it. I locked it around 3 times because the first time I locked it, wasn't very happy with the beginning, especially because I couldn't get the location I wanted to. So the beginning was shot in a bit of a different way, and then when I edited it together, it was like 4 minutes. Well, for Val to start searching for Eartha, and it was just I just thought, well, why would anybody want to watch my short film after that? So I went back to the script, I went back to the story. I was thinking, what works, what would interest people, how people get into it. I completely redesigned and recut the beginning based on what I was trying to achieve with the original script, which I couldn't quite shoot, but without all the fill. I did lots of visual exposition, too much visual exposition. I wanted people to get the real feel of where she's living, but where Valda was living and the feel of what London was like. But I thought you got to do that along the way. You can't just. And really, if anyone really wants to know, they can look at 44.8, the original test shot. So I thought, let's get into the story. Wide shot, establish, and then I pushed the generic. This is who I am. This is what I'm doing. Before people knew it, they were on the journey. And I consolidated that, so I was able to chop that in half. But I was so the rough cut came in at 22 minutes, and I was desperate to have a 15-minute film. And I was able, like the first time I did the first lock, it was around 17 minutes, and then I had to add some more footage, and then I had to edit some stuff out, and then I was able to come up with a 15-minute film, but it's just over 15 minutes with around 30 seconds, 40 seconds of credits, intro and outro credits. So we got a 16-minute film, but I succeeded, and I was really paranoid about that because my last film, Mr. Pencil, which I'm going to cut a good 5 minutes off, it's 22 minutes long. A lot of short film festivals, if they have to decide between a 20-minute film and a 10-minute film of similar quality, they're going to go with a 10-minute film, especially for programming. I got around 3 letters for my last short film, Mr. Pencil's Creative Persuasion. I got around 3 letters saying, you got to final selection, you just didn't make the program. And it's that, if it was just a bit shorter, that would have really helped. The 4K allowed me to reframe the shots. It was the first time I edited a 4K project as a short film, and it really worked. Using lookup tables to get the basic look, and I was trying to grade a very kind of specific feel as well. And hopefully we've achieved all that. But one of my favorite bits of everything is getting the sound done. Elliot Daniels, who's done the music for all my short films and did 44.8 test short. He came in and worked on the music, and what he did was nothing short. I prefer scores that actually are present, not to a distracting way. I don't like, obviously don't like distracting scores, but I do like scores that are operatic, a little bit operatic, where they are literally filling the tone and the presence of the movie and what's going on at that point in time, underscoring pretty nicely and bringing things up without being too in your face, big fan of the old westerns, Ennio Morricone, and stuff with John Williams and Jerry Goldsmith, and all those type of things. And so when I have one of my short films scored, I like things scored in that manner. It's just my taste and identity. I don't think anything's best. I mean, I see a lot of short films where it's like, whoa, whoa, when someone walks into a room and when they kind of look over their shoulder, here's a short film. I kind of like getting away from that a little bit. It's not bad. I'm not putting it down, but for me, I know what my identity is, and I some people hate a big score. I love a big score as long as it's telling the story correctly, as long as people can feel what the characters are going through and what's actually happening. That's really important to me. And Elliot Daniels, my film composer friend, he is awesome. He's stunning. He understands what I'm trying to say. All I have to say is like, I need this and need that, and this needs to sound like that, and that kind of tempo. And he'll go away and come back with things that obviously I'm not a musician. He comes up with things extraordinary that I feel was always there. His theme music for Valda, for example, gorgeous. It's beautiful. has a romantic quality in the sense of the romanticism of an individual going about their business in a city. You know, like the big city that looks stunning is amazing, but there's a lot of darkness to that city, and someone's got to navigate that. And Valda is. And she has a struggle. I want people to feel her struggle, what she's going through, you know? This is a girl who grew up in London. She was born in London. She trained in London. And now and then around her, over a period of time, you know, it's a case of, you might have grown up here, but you can't live here unless you're really rich. And what does that mean? That injustice, you know, she can't do much about that, you know, anymore. You know, the voting system, you know, she has to wait every 4 years to maybe vote for something a bit better. But once something's established, it's that much more harder to change. So she feels lost. So what can she do? She needs to rise to the top. She needs to go through the adversity. And does that mean that she risks breaking the law? Does that mean she risks, you know, her sanity, her personality? You know, who's she going to be at the end of this journey? Elliot Daniels wrote a piece of music that is sci-fi, it's the city, it's Valda, and it's her struggle, and it's who she is in her hopes and who she is in her actions. And it's just this wonderful piece of music that just kind of comes out of the result of the short film, and it's the last piece of music we hear. He wrote all that, and it just blew me away, and I can't be more excited, you know. And I don't know how, but we did it, and yeah, I hope everyone really enjoys it. It's a good little yarn, and it's very relevant to our times, but it's going to be great entertainment as well.
My name is Valda Stessen. I'm a task handler.
Which server are you working at?
MC7-1.
Top server.
London, the most expensive country on earth. If you don't earn, you can't stay.
How did you know where to find me? People who know me think I'm dead.
It's dangerous work.